the ability to integrate into Thai society is something much different.
I definitely struggled with it. For example, I don't speak like fluent Thai. My Thai is not perfect, which has always been a bit difficult, kind of being Thai but then feeling like an outsider. Going through the international system, I think one thing you find, especially when there's a romanticism about kind of Western lifestyle and being English and being from the West, and so my mum wanted to make sure I could speak English and be part of that sort of international world. You're in it, you love the culture, you know, we'd get all these visits to temples and we'd meet lots of Thai people, but oftentimes they would also be happy to speak English to you as well. Looking back now, it's a massive regret that I can't speak Thai.
Welcome to the Fruiting Body Podcast with your host, Brendan. We are in Phuket, Thailand. Today, we have an absolute legend of a guest making his first appearance on the podcast. Today, we have Angus Hamilton. We're going to be learning about his life growing up in Phuket. He's been here since birth, and he's transitioned over to the UK, also in Canada. So we're going to get a little bit of that cultural difference experience. I'm going to let him tell his whole story, and especially on the development of the island of Phuket and how things have completely changed. So without further ado, Angus Hamilton. Okay, thanks for coming first.
Yeah, no, cool to be here. Beautiful, beautiful place. Love Phuket, still love Phuket. Need to slightly correct you. Came here when I was 3.
Okay.
Not from birth, born in Hong Kong. Parents lived a very international life, and so they were in Southeast Asia. They were working in Hong Kong. But then there was the SARS outbreak that happened there. And so schools were kind of shutting down. They weren't so sure. And then they saw the opportunity to maybe relocate, do something different. Phuket was kind of this beautiful, untouched gem, which they'd been in the 90s and they absolutely loved it and thought, come across, check it out. And so, yeah, I've been here since I was 3, 4.
Yeah, you. I guess I know your dad through mutual friends, and then obviously we met. We were playing football years ago.
10 years?
10 years. I've been about 9 years, so I probably met you
then.
8 years ago, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm too fat to play football anymore.
You could give yourself a chance. You're in the weight.
I found the problem with those pitches, like, because you're obviously much smaller and younger. There was no give on them. It's like you're running on like cement, and like the next day I'd wake up like my knee would just be destroyed.
Well, as well, especially on the grass pitches, it's a 50-50 because you're either like dry season or rainy season.
Yeah.
Dry season, it's so hard. It's basically concrete, and then rainy season, I mean.
And then they throw those rubber pellets down, and it's okay. Yeah. But I found it. Yeah, it was basically like you're running on concrete. And when I was playing a bit of keeper at the time, like, and you're diving.
Oh, getting up the hips and everything. Yeah.
Jumping right into it. Actually, a funny story. I think your dad told me he bought China.com. Yeah. Did you know that story?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Like he told me in the 90s or something. Like
.com boom.
Yeah, during the .com boom, he owned China.com and sold it to them. It's just such a cool story. Yeah. Anyways, so that's how we have that how we know each other again from your father and football.
And then bit of play some games, hung out with some like. Just playing cards with friends. Kind of thing.
Yes. Legal cards, yes.
Just yeah.
Jumping back into it from the very beginning. You moved here when you were 3. Initially, which area of the island did you grow up on?
So we started out in Qatar, but then we pretty quickly moved towards Gokgel because that was where the school was. The school I went to, BIS.
Yeah.
And so I've been 3 or 4 and. Just to place that within time and context, that was basically a year before the tsunami. 2 years before the tsunami, which kind of put Phuket and Thailand on the map really for everyone.
You were here before the tsunami?
I was here the year before. And so I can't give you any first-hand stories. But obviously that had a massive impact on the way kind of my family saw Phuket, Thailand, the way they then react within a society, how everyone kind of is. But then, started out in Qatar, so kind of near the beach down south, beautiful area. But then moved more center island, a bit more accessible, and then, went to BIS.
Were you ever living up at Cape Yamu as well, or mostly near Konkiao?
When I was 10, 11, as they're sort of being built, so they started being built the project started maybe 2006, 2007. First houses weren't built really until 2009, 2010. At that point I moved in, but pretty soon after that I was shipped off to boarding school.
At which age?
12.
12. So you did the BIS up to most international kids. They're doing that till about age 12, and then they go to boarding school.
Yeah, all of primary school. I mean, growing up here is beautiful. You got sunshine, you got big fields, you got a place to play. It's super safe. Crime rate's super low. Like you can really go do anything. It's a bit annoying because you don't have like transport to maybe go do stuff. One thing I thought in the UK, which was really cool, is when I moved there, it's just like walk into town. You know, just walk into the shops, walk into the park. It's kind of all there. You see a bunch of people, you know. Here, I mean, you get a taxi to Central or something, or your mum has to drive you somewhere. But no one really walks, and so it's very different in that sense.
It's not the same experience. Like me growing up in Canada, you could you walk out your front door and there's kids running around and playing. But I noticed that a lot in Thailand, the kids growing up here, you need to go meet somewhere.
Yeah,
because everyone's living in different complexes and different villas, and no one's all living in the same place, and they're all 10 minutes away, 20 minutes away. Do you think that's something that you would have missed from your childhood growing up, that ability to just walk out the front door?
Yeah, well, it's different things. I suppose the only one that they'd really have now is, I guess, what Boat Avenue is now, and that kind of residential with then like shops and restaurants and all those things, and sort of an area to hang out. We did lots of different activities, so we have go-to activities, but in terms of just walk out your front door and go knock on a neighbor's house and go play some football or something, didn't have that, which in the UK I definitely did see while I was on holidays and kind of spent more time there. Like, as you say, walk into town, just go out, go to the shops by myself, go to the park, go like, you know, there's a common and there was an area and they'd host like a festival which you could just walk away from, like a fair or something in summer.
Yeah, and I think a lot of parents are considering moving here with their kids. That still exists today. It's still the same problem. You have to, your children, you're not able to just, again, walk out the villa. Maybe there's a couple kids in that area if you're lucky.
Yeah.
But most of the time you're scheduling these meetups. At least now you have your football tournaments and stuff like this.
Yeah.
Where
but it's not, you're completely right. It's not just like you'll go out and you'll bump into some people and you end up hanging out with them or having a chat. Like, not at all. I think one big thing that kind of goes under the radar, but it's really hot here. Yeah. Really, really hot. And so generally, if you're outside, you want to be outside for a reason. And then otherwise, you're looking for the closest air conditioning that you can to kind of chill out. Because otherwise, you never stand outside, especially at this sort of day. We're shooting at 12, 1-ish. Like, it's roasting out.
Yeah, it's different. The tourist mentality, you know a tourist when you see them here, because 1 o'clock p.m., they're on their motorbikes, T-shirt off. Once you live here long enough, you look at them like, are you mad?
Yeah.
Like, you are going to be destroyed by the sun. And living in Thailand, I find that like kind of 11 to 4 p.m., we all like hide inside an aircon.
100%. You won't see me anywhere. I'm out for this. Like, 100%.
That's that tourist mentality. Now, and your mom is Thai as well?
Yeah.
So growing up, and you're going through the international schools as well. Yeah. And I hear this from a lot of parents that even if your mother or father is Thai, let's say, that the ability to integrate into Thai society is something much different.
Yeah.
Did you notice that?
I definitely struggled with it. Well, so, for example, I don't speak like fluent Thai. My Thai is not perfect, which has always been a bit difficult, kind of being Thai but then feeling like an outsider. Going through the international system, I think one thing you find, especially when sort of an Asian woman and a Westerner meet, there's a romanticism about kind of Western lifestyle and being English and being from the West. And so my mum wanted to make sure I could speak English and be part of that sort of international world. And so I was like, you're in it, you love the culture, you know, we'd get all these visits to temples and you'd meet lots of Thai people, but oftentimes they would also be happy to speak English to you as well, or would try to. Looking back now, it's a massive regret that I can't speak Thai. And I've actually recently started doing lessons just to try get that back. But it's definitely, you're in it, but you're an outsider.
Yeah, because the day-to-day at, let's say, your British international schools, even the Thai kids, nobody's speaking Thai.
Yeah, we'd have 3 Thai lessons a week for 30, 40 minutes, and no one ever learned Thai there.
But now I lived in China for about 6-7 years, but the Chinese at these international schools, don't they tend to come together and then speak Chinese together?
Yeah. So similar. You would get sort of, I don't know. People would come together with like people.
With the languages, because they're comfortable.
And so especially, so you start to see the beginning of sort of a big influx of Russians towards the end when I was at school. There were definitely groups of Russians. I think sort of 2012, they built a direct flight from Phuket to Moscow. And so that slowly and steadily kind of developed it. But the Russians will all hang out together because they're all Russian, they have Russian values, and they all share the language, and so they were comfortable. Of course, we would still talk to them and we'd share classes with them, but your friendships were often very closely with the people who felt like you'd relate to, I guess, like everything.
Was their level of English good? Is that a reason as well? Maybe they weren't as comfortable?
Definitely. There was a lot of them would be doing second language English. which was an option and something they do.
Yeah, my ex-boss, he came over. We came over 2016. So his wife at the time, still his wife, is Chinese. So she brought her daughter, and the daughter spoke maybe a 2 out of 10 English. But that's what she was saying, that the Chinese that come over, when they go to BIS, they end up just staying with the Chinese because their English is just not at that level. But they don't really have any other options to get into international school. So they kind of have to, it'd be very challenging going to a brand new school and having to learn a whole new language. It's not so simple.
Yeah.
At home, would your mom be speaking English to you or Thai?
Yeah.
Most of the time?
Yeah, my mom's mostly spoke English to me.
And have you ever had that conversation with her, like, why didn't we speak more Thai?
Just recently, I asked her, I was like, so that was exactly it, you know. Most people, you know, they just grow up and they hit a certain age and they can just speak the 2 languages with their parents. Yeah. Whilst I was like, what's that about? Why can't I? And she just goes, from the age of 3, you had no talent. I try to say stuff and you weren't responding, you weren't picking up. I was like, I was 3. What was going on? But I think kind of a combination of things, and as well, yeah, I was probably more willing to learn English. All the movies we watched were in English, things like that.
Now her family, which area of Thailand is she from?
Pitsanulok.
Oh, my girlfriend's from there too.
Oh,
that's funny.
Yeah,
she's from Pitsanulok. So Pitsanulok, it's 5 hours north of Bangkok. Interesting. It's like the old ancient government town of Thailand when the capital was not Ayutthaya, the other one. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, this area, Pitsanulok, was like where all the government workers worked, like year 1400. So it's very different than when people go, I'll be like, yeah, she's north of Bangkok, and they automatically assume like Isan. Isan's farmland. This was like government land. When you're visiting, would you visit Pitsanulok, visit her family? Because I'm assuming probably a lot of her relatives don't speak English.
Yeah, when I was younger. Kind of up until like 11 or 12, which is probably when I'd say I then got sort of fully westernized when I moved to the UK. But growing up, yeah, definitely met her parents, her sister, her brother, all that kind of stuff. So it was going often. Do I remember that much? Kind of like, as you say, it's urban. It's a city, but also not like a city like Bangkok.
It's still Thai. It's very Thai. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people in these areas, especially once you get outside of Bangkok, they're not going to be speaking English as well.
Yeah.
And does her family ever visit? Do you get to still see them often, or?
Yeah. So not her parents. They're getting quite old now. But her sister, her husband, they've come over. They visit. Super cool. They're really nice. They're great people. A lot of fun.
Yeah. Now you said you're studying Thai again. What made you do that? How are you going about to be able to learn Thai, at another level?
Definitely like chip on my shoulder thing of like, why didn't I ever do it? Like just a little bit like annoying. I still love Thailand. I love Thai culture. And so it's always it's just been this little hurdle which sort of just nags at you, and like going places, trying to have to do sort of the like admin stuff, like getting a driving license, getting an ID card, all of that stuff is just a bit more annoying, a bit more difficult when you can't speak Thai, and it's just less fun, and I'd rather be able to relate to people. I'd rather be able to talk. It's something I enjoy doing, and it annoys me that I can't with people who are from the same place I am.
Are you learning the writing as well?
Starting with speaking.
Yeah, what I would recommend, I've been learning, I speak pretty decent Chinese, so it was much easier to learn Thai. But the clincher of learning Thai for me, just learning the writing on your own.
Yeah.
Because the reason for that I found was my Thai went from like a level 2 to a level 4 pretty quick. And purely just sit down, learning to write Thai. Because what I find in Thailand, and especially in Phuket, many of the Thai people you'll meet, they don't want to speak Thai to you because they want to practice their English.
Exactly.
And they can speak English way better than you can speak Thai. So then what happens is it reverts back to that. What's interesting is when you start to learn the writing, you start to learn Thai on another level because you start to see the writing all around you. So you're hearing the Thai from reading. And then even though you have no clue what it means, it's constantly in your head. And then all of a sudden, when you go to speak it, you'll become quicker and faster. That's what I've noticed. And I was kind of against it at first. I'm like, I don't need to learn to write. It's not that you don't need to learn to write. It's the reading.
Yeah.
Wow. It was a game changer for me.
But I think in general, because sort of studying, and when you do go to learn things, like create a system and build it in. Like you, as you say, you build these connections sort of unconsciously as your brain rewires and works itself. And so just that full immersion is probably the way to do it. And I should think about it more.
How is your level now, like on a scale of 1 to 10?
Like a 4.
4. So you
get around.
You go to the situational Thai. Like
yes.
At the restaurants, you know how to order stuff.
Yeah.
It's just you get more in trouble again if you're doing any type of serious administrative stuff down at an office where any technical term you wouldn't use on your day to day.
No idea.
Yeah. Let's speak a little bit about the cultural differences. Growing up in Thailand and doing your boarding school in the UK, you must have had a bit of a culture shock first arriving there. How was that? Can you recall that?
Yeah. So weird thing that I kind of come back to a lot. So I said, feeling like an outsider being a culture here. I thought I'd finally go to the UK and I'd be like, that would be my culture, and I'm in. And then all of a sudden it turns out I go there and I've got a funny American accent and everyone's like, who's this guy? Oh, he's from Thailand. And then you kind of get those different things. And so I felt like I knew the culture, I understood the place, but I also wasn't in it. The people didn't get me. I had a very different sense of humor. I came from, American speaking TV shows, American jokes, those sorts of things. And so it's a bit of a shock, and the British can be quite stern people and, difficult to break down. And so slowly got into it, but it was definitely difficult, especially kind of having to figure it out on your own as a 12-year-old. I enjoyed it. I came away with lessons for sure, improved a lot in a lot of different things, but very, very different.
And for the level of sports, I'm assuming you're probably playing football as in soccer over here, and then you get over there. Did you have to, was it another level?
Sports in the UK completely changed my life, massively. I was like a short, chubby kid when I was like 9, 10, 11. I played a bit of football on a Saturday morning, like at my school, and maybe once other time during the week. I went to boarding school, and we played every day. We had Monday to Friday, I had sports every day with maybe a fixture on a Saturday or a Wednesday, which was a massive, massive difference. Going to school here, you'd maybe get a game once a month, once every 2 months, with then a tournament in 3 months or whatever, like a competitive game. Whilst going to the UK and having a fixture every week, just like it gave me that motivation, it gave me that drive to actually do it and like take it seriously and build confidence through that. We played football in the first term, rugby in the second term, and then cricket or athletics in the third term. I started with, obviously, as you know, play football. Really got into my rugby, started lifting weights, getting in the gym, really enjoyed that. And then tried a bit of cricket, couldn't quite get there, ended up just athletics just worked for me. But really enjoyed it, playing against different schools, having a sort of circuit. We know, we lost to them last year, so let's make sure we get them this year. Super, super fun. And that's where actually I ended up making most of my like really good friends, I think.
At a certain point in time, you gotta, you have the summer holidays in the UK. Were you always coming back to Phuket?
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much most of my holidays, I was coming back to Phuket. My family would kind of come there a bit, but I was spending all my time in the UK, and I didn't necessarily have a home there. I would stay with my grandma or stay with my auntie, but my parents were here, and so it was always be coming back. And so I actually ended up staying really good friends, and I'm still now very good friends with the people I was at BIS with here.
So you're able to come back and kind of integrate back in, because a lot of people at BIS, they don't go to boarding school. They end up just staying here, and their parents are here, and they, you're not seeing them move over to that boarding school in the UK.
Well, that's why I then find it a funny thing that I'm here now, where most people, when they finish BIS, kind of leave Phuket and never really come back once they're done, because they spent so long here, and actually because it's quite a small circle, small bubble, small island, like even now it's kind of a little bit annoying for me, but I still love it. Once you leave, you're kind of done with it. Once you've done your full 18 years here, you're kind of done with it, you go away. And so like my brother, who's 4 years older than me, he basically never comes back. None of his friends are here, he wouldn't know who he'd see, and so he feels a bit out of place when he comes back.
Yeah, and it's kind of just a transitory tourist destination. Like,
exactly.
Everyone's always on the move here. It's very rare people are staying here so long, unless they're retired at that level. Now, you went to boarding school in the UK. Did you come back and go back to BIS again to finish your last year?
Last 2 years.
Why did you do that?
To be perfectly honest, probably homesick. There were things like, UK's cold. UK's really cold in winter by yourself as like a 15, 16-year-old being forced through boarding school. It's cold. I miss my parents. I miss my friends. The don't get me wrong, I enjoyed boarding school, but like I always think at its best, it's awesome. You're with all the people you want to see, just hanging out, all doing the same thing together, all your best friends, like all at the same time. But when it's bad, it's the fucking worst place you could ever be, because all the people you don't want to see all in the same place doing the same thing all at the same time, and actually you just want to get away and clear your head. And I've definitely got like, I struggled with like mental health and things like that in the past, and so I struggled. I found it difficult, and coming back, seeing my parents do my sixth form here, kind of just, it worked out. It worked out quite well. The big reason I went to the UK was my parents sort of wanted to push me a bit more academically. It was a bit more competitive. They thought here a lot of kids end up coasting. I think BIS makes a lot of really nice, like international schools, make a lot of really nice, cool kids, but not necessarily super high achievers, or not necessarily people who are super focused. That's probably different now with how they've fleshed out the academy, and so they've got this really good sports academy there now, and they're trying to push more academically with more of the people. But it was like most of the kids were average, with a couple like semi-high achievers and a couple semi-underachievers. So
because the education system isn't as challenging as, let's say, a Singapore education system or a UK education system, where they're forcing you to fight to get into these universities. Phuket, it's like, from my understanding, it's like, okay, you pay, and as long as you pay, we'll pass you.
Happy kids, happy parents, like, you know.
They want you back next year.
Yeah, they just want everyone to have fun. They're just like, everyone go play in the sun, go have fun, come to class, you're all sweaty after playing football. It's like, don't worry, we're going to watch a bit of a video, we're going to chill out. I had a great time. Like, I had a lot of fun. But that, like, my parents wanted me to have that kind of desire and hunger to sort of do more and do better. And so at boarding school, I kind of pushed myself there, and then I came back, and then I did quite well academically as well.
And there's structure over there, right?
Much more structure, much more. It's more of an institution. I mean, BIS was built essentially when I was born, whilst the school I went to was like 200 years old. Yeah. You know, so it's just a different thing.
Now, what was your plan? You went to university. What was your plan for university? What did you end up studying? Where did you go?
So I did university after doing gap year. Went to university in York. Up North England. Why did I go? Couldn't really tell you. I picked, like, I just basically looked at my course. I didn't know what course I was going to do for the longest time. I ended up studying philosophy, politics, and economics, because I thought, well, if I don't know what I'm going to do, I'll pick a broad subject, and then that'll hopefully cover it. I think I picked 5 of like the top 10 universities in the UK for it. I got onto all 5, and I was like, gosh, I don't know which one I'm going to go to. And I think York had the best standards. So I was like, screw it, I'll just go there, be in the UK. Doesn't really matter. That was different. That was not what I expected. York's not a big, I don't know if you've been to York. No. Beautiful place. If you want to like sit in a pub outside in a beer garden on a sunny day, one of the 4 sunny days a year, it's absolutely amazing. But like clubbing, that student life that you'd expect, that sort of underground scene, not really doing that. A lot of really diligent sort of academic people who are trying to do the best, which is like, I get that, but I was looking to have some fun. Plants just falling behind you.
Yeah, it's okay.
It'll be okay. No snakes.
So York, is it a blue collar town, or is it just, you know, it's working individuals in the university town itself?
Yeah. So it's kind of slowly developed over time. It's got quite a long history. It was sort of a northern frontier against like the Scottish. Back historically, so it's got like an incredible train station, and then a train station museum if you want to go and on a little train and then do a tour around the train station museum. But it's like old walls, big church. I think it's got 2nd or 3rd biggest like Gothic cathedral in Europe, and so it's like super beautiful, super idyllic. If you ever want to take a girl and go for a super nice dinner, and then like a romantic like Christmas market there was awesome.
Maybe not the best for a university student.
Probably not. Well, we would go to Leeds every once in a while, and then that's where the party scene was at.
Were you at York? Now, were you there for like a full 4 years, or
3 years in the UK?
3 years in the UK, and then after that,
came back.
So
then I came back again after that, which was didn't initially mean to stay. So I came back. And all my friends did the same thing. We all came back and just thought, check in with the parents, especially we had COVID at university. And so we were kind of stuck up there for a while. And so it was like, come back, check in with the parents, spend some time, reconnect. And then we all thought we'd go work in London. That was kind of that was like the layout. That was the timeline that we all had. All stayed after like a month or two, kind of, we start hearing whispers of like, hey, I've got this opportunity for you. Do you want to do this? Do you want to do this? And so I was working at Mrs. B's behind the bar.
Okay, yes.
And I'd been here maybe a month, and whilst I'm at Mrs. B's, I ended up getting like 2 or 3 job offers kind of across the bar.
Was this like, kind of like COVID time or after?
After. This was, when did I graduate? 2022?
Okay, so just like kind of when it faded away.
Yeah. So I was working at Mrs. B's behind the bar, and I still think this about Phuket now. Tons of opportunity if you're kind of smart about it and you're hardworking and you can target those right sectors. And so I kind of ended up getting like 3 jobs in 2 months, and I worked 3 jobs for a year. But then all of my friends as well kind of just fell into jobs. One worked with their dad, one ended up as a property agent kind of thing. And it just slowly developed, and now 3 years later, I can't believe I'm still here. And so, yeah.
And now, do you plan to be here? How old are you now?
25.
25. Do you plan to be in Phuket for the foreseeable future, or what's next for you?
I've got my timeline. I'm looking at like next 2 years, maybe next year and a half. I'm helping my dad with his work. Not directly. That's not my like primary focus, but I definitely want to make sure that project's a success. And so that's on basically a 2-year timeline, at which point I want to do that, and then London for sure. I think growing up here, talked about the small circle, small bubble. I'd quite like to get into the big pond, something like London, something like, a big city.
What about Bangkok? What are your thoughts on Bangkok?
I like Bangkok. I really do like Bangkok. One of my friends recently moved there, actually, and is living there. He loves it. I just think if I'm going to do it, may as well get out of Thailand and really kind of push myself to be out. I think I'd still feel like I was at home, even if I wasn't.
I heard some things about Bangkok. So yourself, we're being half Thai and your mother's Thai, that what they will tend to do, regardless of your education and how you grew up, they might look at people such as yourself and be like, well, we're not going to pay you the Western salary. In places like Bangkok, I've heard a lot of stories, and then people end up going there and they're like, well, no, this is what we're looking for. When you're looking at places like Bangkok as well, I think that's one of the challenges, where the salaries are much lower than a place like London. Is that something that you've kind of looked into as well?
So the salary thing is you can't quite take it at parity, because spending power is really good here.
Yeah.
Like, spending power is a lot better.
Except for in Phuket. This place is expensive.
So Phuket, have you noticed they spend a bottle of water will cost you 30 baht in most places.
Yeah.
It's because it's priced on the dollar.
Yeah.
So the 30 baht is $1 for a water. And so it's priced on that because of the international power. I recently saw some stats where it was from like Hennessy and Hennessy Moet, all of them, highest spending power and highest spender. Phuket outpays all of Thailand
for sure
on like big bottles and high bottle service. So like that luxury market is really in and expensive.
Well, they just know everyone here is going to pay whatever the bill says.
Yeah.
There's no arguing. It's like, yeah, sure, I guess that's it. And it's funny, when you leave Phuket and you go to other places, you start to see the real prices of Thailand.
So nice.
I've
got plans to go to Krabi this weekend, and I'm like looking at hotels. I'm like, brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Like 800 baht would have been like 2,500 baht for like a 3-star.
Yeah, and that was Phuket before COVID. It was like that here, where 800 baht, 1,000 baht. But yeah, now you can go to Krabi, you get a hotel for like, you're getting 4-star under 1,500 baht there, and you can probably be there for 3, 4, 5 days, easily spend less than a couple, maybe 300 pounds, less than that even. Which is, in the reality, in places like London, 300 pounds might not even get you the room.
Oh, get me a weekend. It'll get me like one night out on a weekend, and that'll be about it, really. So when I'm looking at jobs, I think that spending power is a big thing. But what I think here is the opportunity for those jobs is like way more available. When I'm in the UK, I'd be 1 in 100 fighting for a middle management job in a corporate role with a bunch of people who all went to top-end universities. Here, I'm like 1 in 8, of people who are motivated, hardworking, smart within a field. And so being able to kind of apply that, I've tried to definitely take advantage of as many opportunities as I could. So I don't really the money will come. I'm hoping to just experience for right now, but in saying that, currently unemployed. So
do you think you would you kind of sidetrack the London plan and maybe focus more just staying on Thailand, just because it is much easier to find work here?
Well, if I do my 2 more years, then I would have been here for like 5-6 years already. And so I think that's the body of experience for me. And I mean, within that time, I've done 4 jobs already, 5 jobs, and been able to start my own thing, been able to be quite entrepreneurial. Now got a project I'm looking to start with my friends. And so kind of taking those on, being the ability to grab the reins feels quite possible here. To which I want to take that, I want to get everything out of that experience and then go to London with that. But I think there's definitely something in learning like a European work ethic and the business hours and the way that those like corporations and offices run. Because at the end of the day, they're like as a business and way it runs, like Thais don't quite know that structure yet.
The processes aren't exactly the same as well. When now living in Phuket, do you have a lot of friends from elementary school, British International School, that are still in Phuket today that you're able to connect with?
My 4 best friends, that company I was going to start with, I've known all of them 20 years.
And all your thoughts, I mean, when you guys sit down and maybe you go for a beer and have that discussion, and watching Phuket change from when you were at school to today, because a lot of people don't understand that they just moved here. I meet people, sometimes you're at the sauna, some guy, I've been here for a year, it's amazing. I'm like, buddy, this is horrible. That discussion you have with your friends, and can you just explain a little bit from growing up here to what it is today? How has Phuket changed?
I messaged you before the podcast. It took me what used to be my local beach that would take me 20 minutes to go to. Now it takes me an hour 30 if I go outside of traffic time.
And that's Khon Kaen to Surin, yeah?
Yeah, Kok Keo. Hour 45, and I ended up being on call with one of my friends, and they're like, "How's it going?" "Oh my god, you're at the beach. How is it?" And I'm like, "Sucks."
Took you an hour 45.
Yeah.
And that's in the car though.
That's in the car. And I mean, bikes. That's a whole different thing. That's a dangerous game.
It's very dangerous.
It's a dangerous game. And I was just, I was bitter, and it's not like angry. It's like a bitterness because I know what it used to be like, and I was like. All these, the umbrellas? All the umbrellas, these weren't here. The sunbeds, all the way down to the beach, they weren't here. The people on the sunbeds, they weren't here either. This was all quiet. Those jet skis riffing that you can probably hear in the call, that wasn't here. It was just very different. It was just very different. And it's not to say that now it's not nice. Now it's just got its own thing and it's different. But it's not what it was. I mean, the development is extraordinary. The amount of condos being built, apartments, residencies. But in saying that, and what has come with it is like much better choice of restaurants. Like you've got international cuisine at a top level across the island. They've got 2 Michelin-starred restaurants. They've got one of them. Peru has a Michelin Green Star.
What's that? What happened?
But the new
battery.
Good.
Okay, 1 sec. Sorry, you just swap the battery.
Good.
We got like 6 of them. Probably from the last podcast it drained. See, it's already almost an hour.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, 10 more minutes. And then I just try to keep it under that. And then it's just so it looks better on YouTube. Like, I find if you go over an hour, like people are less prone to click.
Yeah.
But to be honest, I don't make any money on this. I just do this.
It's doing quite well on YouTube.
Yeah, I think we're the biggest in Thailand for foreigners.
You're getting quite good. Your viewership's like you're getting like 50k views, 60k views on podcasts. That's awesome.
I did one like 3 ago, got like 250,000, and that one will probably do 1 million over this year, I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, this one will probably do 20 to 50,000.
I wish I had something to plug though. I've not even got anything to plug.
You have anything to plug?
I've got nothing to plug here. I was coming on being like, what's my angle? I wish I had something. I keep thinking I'm going to like start a TikTok and try to set up like a personal brand. But yeah.
It's okay. Drive up to Hawhan. We'll plug then.
Yeah.
I can always put it in the description later. It's easy to plug something. But podcast, the more the plug can be done in the reels later.
Yeah.
I can figure that out. So.
Yeah. I just need to find something to plug.
We're okay. Do we need to clap? No. Yes. Okay. Sorry. We changed the battery. We're back. We were just discussing the selection of restaurants now that we have. So like your Miss B's and your Tatanka's always been there, but when you first lived in Phuket, the selection was far and in between. I mean, going to dinner back then, can you even recall where you were eating? Like, were you going to Boat Avenue? Where were you going?
Boat Avenue didn't exist. Boat Avenue came after I'd been here maybe 8 years already.
Yeah.
It's reggae bar on the beach, but that used to only be 20 minutes away. So it's a different thing. But it would be, you know, that place on the beach. There were a couple of places called like the Ninth Floor, which was...
I used to live there.
Okay.
That's on Surrey Beach.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
I had a condo at the very top.
Okay.
The 9th floor. Yeah, it wasn't bad.
So that was just like one of the few places you could get Western food. But to say that, I wasn't necessarily like in love with Western food. I love Asian food. Like growing up here, I absolutely love Asian food. Which is like up and down. So like back when I was growing up here, there used to be only one Japanese restaurant that everyone would go to, and it was Fuji in Central. You'd have to
That's
go.
right, yeah.
And it's still there. And it's still there to this day. But now there's a bunch of others in competition. So I've not been in years, but there's like now 5, 6, 7 good Japanese restaurants, you know.
Yeah, this Nanami, I like.
Nanami's good.
They're my go-to.
Yeah, very good.
I think they're one of the best in I think the whole island.
Yeah.
But that's because the guy's in there every single time. You have to be in there. It's a hard craft, the restaurant business.
Oh yeah, for sure. Restaurants, bars. I mean, you see so many come and go. I've seen so many come.
I've seen a lot. There used to be like a ramen Japanese place. It had a bad location. I forget where it was.
Right by the lights.
By the lights, by
Blue
Blue
Tree
Tree.
Lights.
Remember that guy?
So good.
So good.
And then it just disappeared. Me and my dad would go all the time.
I just think it didn't get enough word of mouth.
Yeah.
I thought that I would go there once a week all the time.
And I think he was sourcing good product. Like
Unbelievable.
He was sourcing really good fish, like really good. Like,
I don't know. I don't know. He might have went home. Who knows?
Yeah.
This is way before COVID.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like 2-3 years before.
Yeah.
That place, honestly, phenomenal, and the price was fair as well.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of good food in Phuket town for Japanese. There's some ramen places.
But then Phuket town is a place that's, I think, developed for the better. I really like Phuket town nowadays. It's got a good, nice nightlife, lots of restaurants, lots of cool like coffee shops. Like I'll sit there like 4 p.m., 5 p.m. just at the end of the day. Just like it's easy for me to get to from where I live. So I do really like it out there now. I mean, but it is that like COVID was the turning point on all that development. It was kind of slowly coming. COVID happened, everyone was trapped inside. They had that kind of set streets lockdown and you were locked in your blocks and areas. And then it just opened up, tourism opened up. The whole world's like, how do we get people to come back for tourism? And they just did everything.
Yeah, I think a lot of the let's say, people with money realized that they needed to set up somewhere else. Especially with the war in the Ukraine and Russian. So you got a lot of Russians that came here because obviously they don't want to go to the war. That mixed with COVID, mixed with development, this place blew up.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of people are holding on to its traffic's going to go away. I think it's just going to get worse.
So they're trying to do a few infrastructure projects. So they're building a road over the back of a hill just nearby.
I thought that was Manic Dam.
So like, yeah. So Manic Dam over the road towards Kamala. So hopefully you can cut that.
How did they build that?
I don't know. I like their optimism. Big fan of their optimism.
That thing will take. I don't, because the problem with when you build through those hills, like the farmers have to give up the land, and there's no structure in those mountains. It's the mountains with like you can see what happened in Patong
and Kata. So
they'll just collapse.
And so that's where so I don't talk about climate change in terms of like greenhouse gases. I think of climate change in the sense that like if you just drill a hill, fill it with a bunch of cement and concrete, and then we've got a rainy season, monsoon season, you think the hill's going to stay there? Like,
and you see it everywhere. The hills they collapse. Like if you ever run around Manic Dam, you'll just see like hills are just gone.
Yeah.
Because the problem with Phuket is there's no rock foundation. Everything is just dirt hills. So when a landslide comes in, half the mountain will just collapse on you. So I don't know how they're going to build these highways through those mountains. There's probably a reason why they never did that in the first place.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Because, anyways, it should be interesting. But I hope it does fix. When you were coming here again, Boat Avenue didn't exist. So back then, where were you going to dinner with your family? Like just these reggae bars down at like Bangtao Beach and.
I'm trying to think of like specific names of places. I mean, it's disappointing how often I'd say I'd go to Central. You know, like that was really, especially when you're growing up, like being so like kids in the UK would mention it, you know, you'd go out and you just go to the park. Nowadays, like back when I was growing up here, you would go to the big shopping center and you just walk around. You don't even know what you do. You just walk around. I had no idea what I was doing as a kid, you know, probably trying to make eye contact at like the girl I knew from school or whatever.
Well, it's a central location for all the kids from the elementary schools to meet, plus you're all in aircon.
Yeah, there you go.
And your parents can drop you off because there's cameras everywhere. It's relatively safe.
Well, the amount of stuff you could do is very little.
Very little. Yeah, you're not getting in too much trouble there. Do you have any like regrets growing up in Thailand of maybe you wish you would have done something differently while you were here?
Not speaking Thai. Not speaking Thai is the big one. Something now which I'm quite aware of is I want to make sure I do all of it before, as I said, I've kind of got 2 years until I leave. I want to make sure I see all of Thailand. I want to make sure I complete sort of Southeast Asia as an area. I went to Vietnam when I was 9, can't remember much of it. Same with Cambodia. Never been to Laos. Apparently Laos is amazing. Kind of going to all these places, check them out. Because it's a beautiful landscape. It's a beautiful place.
Is there any one destination in Thailand like that's on your radar you want to go see first?
Yes. Well, I'm kind of doing it soon. So I'm going to Koh Lanta soon, but then I've not been to Koh Tao. So I've never been to Koh Tao. I've been to Koh Phangan. I've heard absolutely beautiful and like diving, snorkeling, all of that stuff. Still quiet beaches. If anyone's listening to this, don't go and ruin it. Don't make
down
it busy.
in Koh Lanta. I think Koh Tao.
Koh Tao, yeah.
These places are overrun already.
Yeah. I want to go to Koh Tao because I heard it's quieter than like Koh Phangan, Koh Samui, which
a
are
little
around
bit,
there.
but no. No, it's pretty overdeveloped now because it's the number one spot on the backpackers destination. So when backpackers come to Southeast Asia and they're going to Vietnam and Bali, Koh Tao's where they do their diving certifications.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's packed there with divers because it's cheap, it's quick, they get it done, and now when they travel the rest of Southeast Asia,
They can dive. Yeah.
Most places, it's expensive. They want you there for 3 or 4 days. It's a bit of a nightmare as well.
And then, so I think that's definitely a place. Another one I really want to go to, I've been to Chiang Mai a bunch. I love Chiang Mai. There was a part of me that when I was doing remote work, I thought I wanted to move there or at least spend some time there. It's got a cool scene. But Pai. I've never been to Pai and be sort of up in the hills, up in the Greenland, bit of a spiritual time, kind of they're big into sort of mindfulness, wellness, big Buddhist practice, and so I'd be definitely interested in doing
Pai
that.
is great. It's
never been.
It's a strange place in a good way. It's when you leave Chiang Mai and you come up over the hill, and as you enter Pai, you get a weird feeling. I can't explain it. It's like you're in another country.
Cool.
I don't know how to, and I think that's probably what it essentially is. I mean, at the end of the day, those areas, it's a different ethnicity. It's like the Hmong tribe, and you're bordering right into Myanmar, so with the Burmese. So it becomes this melting pot once you start to get to those areas where it's not really Thai. Okay. It's like these are mountain people that have been there for thousands of years. It's still Thailand, but it's a different ethnicity, a different feeling. There's waterfalls there. You can... there's tons of hot springs. You start to connect with the land. I can't explain it. All I know is I remember driving over the mountain, coming into Pai, and like this energy hits you. You're like, okay, this place is different. There's something here.
You sold it for me.
Oh, you're going over you're going over the highest point in Thailand, the Doi Saket mountain. Doi is Lana for mountain. So again, it's another language there too. Okay. Like, they don't speak the language out there, like in Chiang Mai, and when you get to Pai, it's called Lana. It's not even remotely close to Thai. It's its own language. They just speak Thai, so it's truly a different feeling. But it's amazing, and I don't think last time I went to Pai was 6 years ago, maybe 5 years ago, and I've had friends that have recently gone there. It's far enough out of the stretch of the backpacker that it hasn't changed that much. Because it's not easy to get to, like a Koh Phangan, where you fly here and you take a ferry to Koh Samui and you're in Koh Phangan. Pai, you gotta fly to Chiang Mai, get a car, drive 4 or 5 hours. So it's still keeping the riffraff out a little bit.
Yeah, cool. Really cool.
Okay, so just before we wrap it up, going back in it all, I hope next time we do a podcast, you're gonna be up in Hua Hin, and we'll do it in Thai, yeah?
We'll try. Maybe try to do the first 10 minutes or something.
Yeah, I started learning. I've been learning Thai, well, since I've got here, but really using a tutor 3 times a week for a year, and it's slow.
Yeah.
Mostly because the second you leave your home, it's so easy not to use it.
You just revert, right?
Yeah,
and your confidence, and you're like nervous.
You just get lazy.
You're like,
whatever.
Yeah.
But my goal was I want to be able to start doing podcasts in Thai, because actually that opens the podcast to a whole other audience.
Yeah.
Which I could do, but I wouldn't be able to. It would be more of an interview. Like
you can have different people on there. You can have completely different guests. You can talk to like a whole new world of people.
But I wouldn't be able to like respond. Like I could kind of write the questions, rehearse the questions, ask the questions. But if they talk, and revert back to me, I'll be like,
Sounds like you can't speak Thai then.
no. I could do enough, and I would be able to pick up like 30%, but I wouldn't catch the full meaning. So I think that's the next thing. We'll have a goal. I was supposed to do it a year ago. I started in December. I'm like, I set the goal for a year. I pushed it another year.
Awesome.
And I've done 5 books in Thai. It's like I know a lot, and it's very easy to learn a lot, but it's very hard to retain it and use it just because in these places like Phuket, the taxi driver speaks English better than your Thai, or the 7-Eleven girl speaks way better English than your Thai.
I've actually found taxi drivers are some of my best Thai teachers because I'll always go in and I will try, I'll be like, Sorry ka, Pombai ti, wherever I'm going. And they can tell I'm trying. And so they try to start slowly like spelling it out for me and be like, oh, bye, kompun. And it's like they do all this little stuff which try to bring it in, and then all of a sudden we're having a dialogue.
Yeah, actually, it's true.
Nice.
The taxi drivers give you some time. I guess because you're stuck in the taxi with them. So they're going to give you the time of day. I find like restaurants, the ladies are just like, okay, what do you want? Let's go. I'm like,
they're just trying to do service. They're
like, give me your order in English. Get out of here. Yeah. What do you want? Pomau mutot? You want fried pork? Yeah. All right. Get out of here. Let me take your order. Next. But no, it makes sense. The taxi driver, he's going to be with you for the next 30 minutes.
Yeah. Super nice, actually.
Maybe that's the way you can learn Thai. Just because the traffic in Phuket's so bad. Do a lesson.
It's a full hour lesson.
Be like, where are you going? I'm like, I just want you to drive around for an hour.
Yeah.
Take me back home.
Have the conversation.
There you go. 500 baht for a one-on-one conversation with a taxi driver.
That's pretty good. Yeah. Take a little book. Take a little notebook. Study book.
Hopefully he's not smoking yaba. Anyways. Okay. That's going to wrap up another episode. If you have anything to plug, if not, you will have something at some point. If you can let that camera there, if you can even just let the audience know, how could they reach out to you if they have questions through your Instagram or whatnot?
My Instagram is angus.ham, but it's private, so you're going to have to go through requests. I keep a pretty quiet life, but my friends and I are starting a marketing project. Look for MTG Marketing. If you see that anywhere, that's going to be me and my friends working together on that, trying to take on sort of the digital marketing space. But otherwise, Read Exotic Magazine, if you're staying in a nice hotel whilst in Phuket, we stock 120 hotels, and that's also doing its thing. Otherwise, just come, enjoy the island, enjoy Thailand, enjoy the place.
I'll take all the links, put it down in the description. Possibly by the time I air this, because it might be a couple months from now, we're doing so many. And anything that can work for your benefit. So when you have the link ready, you pass to me, we're going to put it in. It's probably the marketing company. It's already done millions of dollars at this point. So actually, you gotta reach out quick, because they can only take on so many more clients.
Yeah. Exactly. By that point, we're doing a bunch of stuff. I don't know, watch my movie. I'll write a book at that point. We'll do everything.
We'll put all those links in. Okay. That ends another episode of the Fruiting Body podcast. Big thanks to Angus for coming on, and hope you enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, comments, all that fun stuff, and we're out.